What's up, everybody? Happy Sunday. This is Nick the Comic Nerd coming at you live with Nick's Nerd Word, episode 20. So let me get the spoiler banner going. I'm going to talk about comic books I read this week. And on my last show, I had a lot of books read. And this week, I had a lot of books read. So I'm very excited to go over that. I just want to quickly update. If you had won anything in my 400 subscriber giveaway, you'll be getting it. It'll be shipped out this week. I shipped out everything stateside. Everybody, and there were 2 people in Canada. I had to last time I shipped stuff that way, they didn't give me a problem, and they're giving me some issues. So I might have to email you or message you for something, but I'll have it done. Don't worry about it. It'll be done this week. What else? I'm not doing a Grand Slam giveaway this week. Monday was hectic, and my whole week was kind of wild, to be honest. So I will do 2 Grand Slam giveaways in September. That's gonna be the plan because I have a cool video I want to show you guys tomorrow, and then the following Monday. So I don't want to do a Grand Slam giveaway and cut the time short. So, but I am gonna start diving into these books. We'll go over everything, what I read, what's going on. We are Legion. What's up, Mark? DJ, what's up, dude? My whole thing just froze. Let's see. There we go. What's up, man? Thank you guys for stopping by. Greatly appreciated. Yes, that's the idea, is to do a bigger giveaway. I have to dive back into these boxes and find some cool keys to give out. So we'll see. I'm almost like a box done between giveaways and like donating books and stuff to my local LCS. They do like a warehouse thing where they sell books for like 25 cents. I was like, you guys can have some of these. So I'm almost giving away a whole long box at this point. So 6 to go. And then I'm supposed to get like 7 more. So we'll see how it goes. I'm going to show you guys what I read. Some quick stuff. A lot of DC stuff. First up, this just shows you how far behind on comics I was. Daniel, what's up, dude? Thank you for stopping by. I finally read the Christmas special for DC of Grifter got run over by a reindeer. A lot of small, funny stories in here. It was really good. Harley Quinn story was great. There was a Batman story that was okay. There was a lot of random stuff. It was cool. Like I said, it was just so far behind. But between the way I'm catching up and everything, I'm still getting there slowly. Onward. On to the Night Terror stuff. I am completely caught up with Night Terrors on the stuff that I am personally reading. I have not read everything from Night Terrors. This is Night Terrors number 2. Great cover. I had no idea what this was going to bring. So Deadman is still inside Batman's body, and he comes up with an idea of how to, I guess you could say, like, have somebody help or communicate. I liked this cover a lot, actually. This was like a cool B cover. I picked this up like last minute, to be honest. This wasn't one that I was initially grabbing. I was hoping for a lot of these A covers. I didn't get them, but that's okay. This is my first read because Deadman decides I'm going to go wake up Sandman. I've never read a book with Sandman in it, so I was super excited from the start of this one. Super, super cool. Shop, what's up, dude? Super cool story. Basically, Batman gets the old rundown on, or I'm sorry, Deadman gets the old rundown on insomnia and the Nightmare Stone, which the more and more I read it, the cooler the concept is. And this was basically how Sandman explains like the origin of what went on and how they think they can solve it. And Deadman is like, all right, at the end of it, like, well, I should put you back to bed, I guess, and let you rest or whatever, because he literally dug him up out of the ground. And I think the idea was, I need to find somebody who can bridge the real world with the nightmare world or the dream world. And Sandman is like, wait, this is something I've never finished, though. And Sandman decides, like, hey, I still want to be a part of this. So really cool. Really enjoyed this one, to be honest. All the Night Terror stuff has been really good. This one didn't really land for me, unfortunately. This is Night Terror's Angel Breaker. I grabbed this because this is another new character that I had never read. I don't know if this was like the first appearance of Angel Breaker. I'm not 100% sure, but I can tell you that I didn't love this one. It was kind of, not that it was all over the place, but the character involved just didn't really do all that much. So this goes around. There was a this shows like back in the I don't know how you explain it. Like Angel Breaker, there's 2 stories kind of running in here, and it's Angel Breaker and her side of the story, and then they're like these kids who are like training for, I don't know what their whole thing is going to be. Like I said, I kind of didn't follow this one very well. I'm not going to lie to you. And by the end of it, I think this was the story for Angel Breaker within the whole run. So I know it wasn't a great description, but like I said, I don't 100% remember it, and I honestly did not love this one. So Angel Breaker was Butt. She's a character from Destiny. Okay. Sealy wasted the story and played Fluffer for him. Yeah. Okay. So that makes me feel better that I don't exactly remember it. So next up, we had Batman 2. Really cool. This was kind of the start of, I think, the turnaround or the peak of the story where, and this, I think, is the story that shows that the heroes are starting to wake up or figure it out more. So this was Batman. It was so good. And it was Batman versus the Gunhead Batman. That's what the cover is. This was a great cover. I almost ended up getting the B cover for this. I would not have been happy because I really like this A cover. But Batman and Deadman are still one, like I kind of keep saying. And they're slowly starting to figure it out. And you learn that, I think it was Insomnia is actually mixed in with another character. So kind of like how Batman and Deadman are one. This is how Insomnia is going through. Hold on a second. I'll tell you in a minute. This was so good. Oh, okay, now I remember it. All right, I just had to quickly read it. Love how boss Batman was once he threw Boston out of his body. Yeah, so Batman and Boston, the dead man, end up separating. And when Batman wakes up, he says, like, oh, I think I'm still in the nightmare. And there's Robin. And Robin says to him, no, you're awake. We just lost. He's in Gotham, and it's crazy. The ending was great. The whole fight was great. It's so cool. The Batman and Deadman thing isn't fantastic. How they're kind of mixed together. I don't know when they originally started, or like when their origin story together was, when Batman sort of like don't come in my body, and then this is just how the story's been going so far, and we're already in month 2 of it. But this was really good. I highly recommend the Batman run, at least. I know not everybody's reading all of Night Terrors. I was just going to grab the main storyline, and then I'm glad I didn't, because stories like this made it worth it. When Batman spoke to his younger self, you are not alone. You have friends, you have family. Yeah, that was really good. So Batman, his nightmare is, because each hero kind of goes through their nightmare, and Batman's nightmare, and they end up, so he's talking to like the younger version of himself, because his nightmare is his parents dying. And yeah, I believe that's actually one of the lines for it. So it was really cool, because I think, not that Batman isn't over the death of his parents, but I think that was just like another step towards it. So really good stuff. Very much enjoyed. Another one I very much enjoyed. I like this individual Ravager stuff. I don't know about you guys, but I think it's been really good. I believe this is another story where I think the heroes are starting to wake up. So the Batman ended where it's like, oh, is he really dead or alive? Is he awake or not? This was cool. So this one, if you don't remember, Ravager 1 was she finds herself in the nightmare realm. It's a younger version of herself. And her nightmare version of herself is the daughter of Slade Wilson, just like she is. And she's fighting. So Ravager is fighting the Deathstroke version of her nightmare, like the other. So I had said initially that I think that Ravager might be the bridge between the dream world and the waking world, and I believe I'm correct now. And Mark kind of just put it in the comments, and I'll talk about that in a second. But I think that, so she has her dad in the real world, who we all know Deathstroke is a bad guy, not a good person. Ravager doesn't really like him. There's no connection between, there's no like relationship between the two of them. However, the nightmare version of herself believes in her dad and loves him and this and that. So they get to fight finally. And when I showed this on New Comic Book Day, that I thought that there was like a demon she was fighting in her sword, and it turns out I was right. So she's fighting her dad, the nightmare version of her dad, and she wins. And when she beats him, she kind of like wakes up, and she wakes up, I believe she was with Steel, if I remember correctly. But a drop of blood comes through when she gets up, and I don't know if it comes off of her sword or off of her. And the last page is just showing that. So my thought is Ravager is waking up, but like Mark said, there's nightmares that are starting to come through into the real world. So maybe Batman was a bridge and maybe Ravager was too. Ravager was my initial guess. I really liked it in the beginning because I thought, oh, cool, make her like kind of the front runner of this story. Peacekeeper 1, that's who it was. Thank you. Yep, it was Peacekeeper 1. So yeah, this was fantastic. This was one of my favorite reads of the week. I didn't read the Black Adam run. Maybe I should now, but really good, I have to say. Check out the Ravager stuff. I think it's great. She came in Robin, real cool. Night Terrors 3. Night Terrors 3 was another good one. So as you can see, I don't remember what they call all of these characters. Like they have different names, but they're all like the queens kind of, or like princesses of the Nightmare realm. It's kind of like when Snyder did what was it called, Death Metal, and how all of the Batmans had different versions of themselves. It's kind of the same idea. Sleepless Nights. Thank you. But this was another great story. So the main titles have been good. So the main titles are like the Deadman run. I'm just running through it really quick. So Deadman and Batman are still working with Sandman. Now you've got Robin involved. I'm just flipping through this. Oh, this is the Deadman stuff. That's right. This was great. All right, so this is going to be a big spoiler. If you didn't read these, read this one. So what's up, E-Man? Thanks for stopping by, dude. Thank you. Appreciate you hanging out. So this kind of goes back, and this is a big part of where Insomnia comes from, as well as Deadman. And I'm just trying to remember who at the end, because you finally get a reveal of this. That was it. It was, I believe it was Deadman. So this is cool because Robin and Batman, or Deadman, I believe, decide to like dive deeper into the nightmare. Is that what it is? But together, oh yeah, that's right. Thank you. I just saw this as you said it. Sandman decides to put them to sleep to help them find somebody. So you actually get a really cool scene here of Deadman and Robin, but Deadman is in Batman's body still, and you kind of get like a little new suit out of it. It's pretty dope. And as you go through this in your reading, Deadman is slowly figuring out what's going on, and he sees a version of himself, and he talks about how that when he died, and he told Robin, like, oh, like I said, I didn't feel anything, but I lied. He said, I always tell people I was dead before I hit the ground, but that wasn't true. I felt the bullet. I felt the impact. And he's watching himself die. And he tells Damien, like, I think I figured this out, basically, and I know how to, the stone. And you see that Deadman goes into his own body on that top corner and goes into his heart, and you find, dun, 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 this was so cool. He wakes up, Batman's got the Nightmare Stone. So it's finally time. We found the Nightmare Stone, and we can use it to stop insomnia. And then Batman says, and then my dreams came true. So this was great. Really cool turn of events. It's crazy to think that we're getting all this done in like 2 to 3 month time. I almost wish it went on a little bit longer because so far this has been really good. But really cool stuff. Again, I'd never read a Deadman story. I had never read a Sandman story. The fact that they kind of coexist now and work together, even in separate bodies, super, super dope. Like Mark keeps bringing up the Hollow. I don't know 100% about the Hollow, but really, really well done. Very excited to see how he reviews this tonight or how he does it with Sector 2815 later. So another great one. That might be the read of the week. Now I don't know. Now that I'm thinking about it. Oh, see, that's cool. So shutting down Insomnia will be one thing. Shutting down the Stone will be a separate. Okay, cool. That makes sense. So you got to defeat Insomnia, and then you still have to figure out what to do with the Stone. I get it now. Night Terrors Robin, number 2. I'm just going to flip through this real quick to try and remember everything I read from it. Oh, yeah, so this is the Jason Todd and... Wow, I'm having a stroke. What's his name? This is the Jason Todd Red Hood story and the... Oh, wow. And the Tim Drake story. Wow, I can't remember Robin's name. What's up, Last Crucis? This wasn't bad. I didn't love this. I was hoping for a lot better, especially with Robin, because I love the Robin stuff. I think a big part of it is I'm not really a Tim Drake Robin fan, maybe, and that's what the whole thing is. Like, it just didn't land for me. So this is Tim Drake and Jason Todd are having, I think they're a part of each other's nightmare, and they're in the same nightmare. And again, I believe this is one where they start to wake up or go to that in between. It was okay, like I said. They talk about how they have to take leaps and bounds. They kind of do this whole thing where they admit that they believe in each other and that they were never, you were never not good enough and this and that. And they come through and they start fighting their way out of the nightmare. Yeah, I don't know. Like, there was a lot of action in this one compared to some of the other ones, but overall, let me just remember how it ends, and then I'll talk about that real quick, and then we'll go into the next one. A lot of fighting. What happened? Okay, yeah. So I think what happens is they. I try. So I believe that Tim and Jason wake up, but they're not in the same place when they wake up. They're in separate areas, and Robin tells him, "I'm on my way." Like I said, wasn't fantastic. There was a lot of action. It was a lot of cool fighting. But this was one of those ones where, like I said, it's kind of like a brotherly bond as the Bat family. Like, hey, I believe in you. And good, not great, kind of bland in certain areas, but not bad overall. Another run I love, I know I say it every time I read a Zatanna book, you guys. I love Zatanna. I think it's so good. I loved issue 1 for this, where Rust Buster comes in, which I think his name was Rust Buster. It's Robot Man, but as one of the Sleepless Nights. Really cool. Zatanna is trying to figure out what to do through this whole one. She's trying to figure out if she can use her magic. She's basically on the run this whole story from the Sleepless Nights. And at the end, she figures out how to wield her magic, and she takes her sword and she cuts into, I guess I don't know if his name is Rustbuster, Rustmax or something. I don't even know if I'm close. And she separates him from Robot Man, and she gets Robot Man back. So in the first issue, they were fighting each other's nightmares, each other's demons, and that really helped them get through it until the end. And I thought this was fantastic. They kind of do the same thing at the end of this, is they keep fighting, that she separates him. She goes through her nightmare, through the maze still, through her little labyrinth there. But like I said, she figures it out, and she brings back, this is a great page. I'm back, baby, of Robot Man. And I don't remember, did they wake up? Patrol to battle. Okay, cool. So this ends where they decide they're just going to try and go. She's going into a portal with him, and they're going to try and figure out where to go next, who to fight next. So we'll see where they end up. I hope they show back up in maybe Night Terrors 4 or somebody else's story. We'll see. That was it for Night Terrors for me. Like I said, I think it's so good. I know I didn't do a great review on a couple of those, but overall, I would keep reading it. You can absolutely just do the main run, the main 5 stories. But like I said, if you didn't read like that Zatanna and she shows up out of nowhere, you might be a little confused. But overall, I don't know if she'll have that big of an impact in the main run at this point. I think it was just to show side characters and get them involved too. So one of my 2 Marvel reads this week, two. Guardians of the Galaxy 5. I had bought this issue hoping to see if this was like a main new character in the front and center. It wasn't. Guardians has been a little dry for me, and I love Guardians, so I always try and hype it up a little bit, but this is basically Rocket and the Guardians reunite. They're trying to figure out how to stop Groot. Peter swears that Groot told him how to and how to save him, and they decide that they're going to go try. And basically, they go to a place where all of the meteors or asteroids of Groot, it's called Grootfall, are just crashing and landing everywhere. And all of the heroes are slowly being taken out. And the last thing you see is Rocket. And he's kind of like sympathetic, I think, in a way. And he says, like, whatever happens next, at least it's finally over. So that's kind of the end. That's the Guardian ship going into Grootfall. Not great. Like I said, I'm kind of upset that this was dry. I thought this would have been a bigger story run. I guess we'll see what issue 6 brings, but I'm not really keeping my hopes up any longer for that. I grabbed Werewolf by Night, number 33. This was cool. This is one of those, like, this was a reprint. This is a facsimile, I should say. the Werebeast and the Moon Knight. So Werewolf ends up fighting Moon Knight. This story opens up. Moon Knight has him captured. He's trying to take him because that was the job he was paid to do. So they're fighting. Basically, Werewolf just will not go down. He wakes up hanging on this ladder in a plane and cuts it, and him and Moon Knight dive into the water. They get up, go back and forth, back and forth. Moon Knight defeats him again. They get him to the place he's supposed to. He's trapped in a cage, and Werewolf turns into himself. He turns into what was his name? It's a dog. It was actually really cool. Is it something Terrier? It's Jack Terrier. That's Werewolf's name. I never knew that, so that was super cool. And Moon Knight realizes, like, he feels bad and they're doing the wrong thing and frees Werewolf. They go through the whole fight and shebang. Really cool. I don't know if these two ever met back up in comic books, but I thought this was great. I like the Werewolf stuff. He's one of the omnibuses I always thought about getting. So a couple more DCs, 2 more DC books, you guys, and then I'm going to dive into what I caught up on. Adventures of Superman, John Kent, number 6. This is the finale of the Injustice saga. So John Kent is basically fighting, I keep calling him Dictator Superman, and John realizes, like, in the last issue, he talked to his grandparents on the other universe, and John figures out, I have to stop the Justice League one by one in order to stop Superman. So he starts with the Flash and basically just sits there and talks to him, and he's like, look, man, I need you to just let me do this because you know this is wrong. Goes on to the next one, steals the ring of Green Lantern. Goes on to the next one, steals the magic lasso of Wonder Woman. Batman and Harley Quinn are captured, and he knows that Superman is probably going to kill them. Then he goes to face Superman one-on-one. So John Kent versus Superman, it's finally going to happen. And John uses that power where, as you can see, he's kind of got like the lightning and everything turns blue. And he knows he needs to preserve it and like rebuild it in order to fight Clark. What he does is really cool, kind of corny, but it was actually really good. It was kind of homey, where John quickly uses his power. Superman stands in like a fighting position, and John uses his power to quickly go up to Superman, and he gives him a hug. And it was one of those things where you were like, oh, okay, because you were expecting a huge fight after all of this, but you don't. This is what we get instead. And as you can see, Superman is super confused. John tells him, I'm sorry for what happened to you, but this doesn't excuse something that you've done. They end up, I wouldn't even say they fight. Superman hits him. I'm sorry. It doesn't become much. And then Lois kind of shows up. And she's like, I don't know how to put it. I don't know if it's like a projection or what, but she kind of shows up in the skies. And he ends up, Superman kind of caves and is trying to figure out what to do. Cyborg shows up and attacks John. I forgot about that. And the way he attacks John, he shoots him with this blaster that the Lois message from the first issue. So he gets hit with it, and then you can see John is slowly fading away, and John wakes up back up in his own metropolis, and it tells you, like, oh, stick around in a couple of weeks. We'll get the next issue. So first arc, really good. I was a big fan of this. I thought this was fantastic. Yeah, literally that hug, like, killed Superman. He was like, what the? But that world is really crazy. It was a really well done job. Should have been a fight that ended with Bad Cal in a Red Sun prison. Totally agree. Like I said, I was kind of looking for a big one, but that's what she sent John when he left. Gotcha. I'm excited to see what John Kent's next story is going to be. I really liked this. I was so happy when I went and grabbed this along with the Connor run, but we'll see what happens next. We'll see where he shows up. Okay, John's story will continue in an event that starts towards the end of the year. Okay, cool. Peacemaker Tries Hard number 4. I actually didn't love this, and I was really upset because I didn't shut up about Peacemaker 1 through 3. This was number 4, so him and the Bee are teaming up, and they have to go save Bruce Wayne, his dog. And it's really funny because Peacemaker basically calls Amanda Waller, and he's like, they have Batman, they have Bruce Wayne, and she's like, who? And he tells her. So she starts making these phone calls, and then she hears, because she's in a panic and it's hilarious, and she's asking like, how did you see Bruce Wayne? And he's like, oh, when I went and got that first mission, he was there, he was kidnapped. And she was basically like, why didn't you call me then? And it was this whole back and forth of very funny dialogue, I'm sorry, and it was laughable. Like, it was funny laughable though. It's been a great read. Like I said, it wasn't the best issue, but she goes back and forth, and then she realizes he's talking about a dog and hangs up on him. So General Immortus, who I think was the guy like the Brain was talking about initially, is sitting in a diner, and Peacemaker and the bees show up. There's a lot of really funny bee puns in this one. Like I said, I don't think I loved this as much. You see kind of like an origin story or a backstory on the bee, which was kind of cool. They get captured by Snowflame. That was right. I totally forgot about that. This guy is nuts. This guy kind of just gets coked out. The coke vampire from the 80s Guardians book showing up. I laughed for 5 straight minutes. Yeah, this was funny. So this is him, Snowflame, I'm sorry. Kind of gets coked out. He's like this vampire dude, and he has a lot of really funny lines. Feed them to the piranhas. Fuel my... There's just a lot of funny freaking lines in this. Like Peacemaker literally says, whoa, cocaine gives this guy his superpowers. And I'm just trying to remember how this ends. That's it. Okay, now I remember. So he falls into like a giant powder of cocaine. And that kind of knocks him out. He finally goes down. No one tries to feed me to my piranhas. Did you Mickey his cocaine with a poison frog? That's right. This issue opened where Peacemaker has a bunch of frogs like all over his back. And he's like, oh, don't worry. I have my like my non-venom helmet on. So it was super funny. It's better than I thought now that I'm actually looking back and rechecking out the pages, to be honest. That was something I didn't think I did. But this ends where you see, what was the gorilla's name? I feel so bad. I never remember his name. And they don't show me. But Deathstroke shows up at the end of this one, or Slade Wilson shows up at the end of this one. So maybe that's who they'll come into the fight with. But another good week in DC, I have to say. The DC stuff has been just nonstop, lights out, phenomenal. Continue to read it. Last but not least, you guys, and this will be a little bit of a quicker review. I finished Vanish by Donny Cates and Ryan Stegman. I had loved this. Yeah, see? That's what I'm saying is now that I look back, I actually did enjoy this. So I'm happy I enjoyed it, obviously. Like, you want to enjoy your comic books. Vanish was great. The whole thing was phenomenal. Oliver, the protagonist, gets the ending he wants out of all of this. I kind of just flipped through. This is one that I really wish I had gotten more A covers on, because when I was putting these into the CLZ app and I saw that I had some of the B and C covers, I was like, damn, this is a great cover. So Oliver, you almost feel like he's the bad guy in this, because the good guys, or the so-called good guys, are trying to stop him, and he just keeps killing them. Eventually, he kills a woman called Ileana, who used to be in a relationship with Baron Vanish, who is the main antagonist, who you finally get introduced to in issue like 4, I think, or 5. But this was great. This character, his name is Halcyon. He's super cool. He's kind of like a mix of Omni-Man and Homelander. And it's terrifying. He's super quick. He goes and he takes Ellen, who is the lover of Oliver, who keeps believing in him, and Oliver just keeps messing up, getting wasted, but now he's using his magic again and trying to fight back and come to the end of his story. And Halcyon ends up killing a few of his friends, killing a few of the good guys, finding Ellen, which has like all these hexes and spells around her house to keep her protected. It just doesn't go down the way it should. Eventually, Halcyon gets kind of captured. This issue kind of killed it for me. I almost like stopped here. This was kind of like how Night Terrors is doing the waking world with the nightmare world and the in-between, like we were talking about. Vanish kind of has like the magic realm and the human realm, I guess you could say. I don't know if that's the best way to describe it, but Oliver keeps bouncing back and forth between them. And one second he's where he like was as a kid, going through the school of magic. Then he's captured, and then he's talking to Ellen, but he's in like an insane asylum because he's got like a straight jacket on, and she tells him like, "I believe in you. You can still do this." And then he's going in and out, in and out. He's in the middle of a fight, then he's not, like getting his ass kicked, then he's not. Really good, but really wild. Um, this was the issue. I'm sorry, this was the issue I didn't like that much. Issue 5 was good. Issue 6 wasn't great. But super cool. The other part was how this is starting to come to an end. So basically, there's a part of Oliver that's talking to. Let me just check the name just to be safe. You learn that like Halcyon and Baron Vanish are kind of one. And you learn that Oliver and it's not Master Orin. You learn that Oliver is also, maybe it was Orin. I don't think it was. Oliver is also kind of able to. Oh, Oliver, I'm sorry, is Hook as talking to and using Illyana to stop Baron Vanish and end this. So the final fight is realistically Halcyon versus Oliver, but it kind of goes back to the fight of Baron Vanish and Illyana, I believe. So Oliver is getting his ass kicked. He has no idea what to do. He gets his hands cut off. He loses his ring, which gives him his magic power. And he's talking to, I think I said, I believe it's Illyana, and she says to him, like, look, if you want to beat him, you have to let him kick your ass. And he's like, all right, fine. I've been getting my ass kicked enough as it is. And like, what's it going to hurt to get my ass kicked a little bit more? You go on to continue the fight, and it's not working. Like, taking the ass kicking from Halcyon isn't doing it. And finally, she says to him, because you learn that his power was within him all along, Oliver. It wasn't within the ring. Like, he knew he could kind of forge, not materials, but like he can create things with his power. So like he's literally got nubs because his hands were cut off, and he learns like he can get fists. So like he creates his hands again, and that's what he's using to kind of fight back, and it's just not working. Halcyon is just kicking the crap out of him. You go deeper into the story a little bit, and the whole point was that Halcyon needed to taste blood to kind of take that step back. So Oliver was told, like, ditch your hands, punch him with your nubs. That's the legit line in the book. So he does, and all of a sudden Halcyon tastes the blood, and sure as hell, it kind of gives him the second delay. Oliver is at his death point, and none other than the wife of Oliver, Ellen, shows up, and she and him go back and forth. There's some backstory where they're in the like School of Magic together. She ends up coming in and killing Halcyon and creating a sword, and she cuts him up. And it was so good. You learn that she's pregnant before the whole story ends, and that she wants Oliver to be a part of the baby's life, but at the same time, like, she knows he's kind of a mess up. But again, it goes to how she believes in him the whole time. And their friend Deacon goes and figures out how to save Oliver, and all he's got to do is put the ring back on and hold it to his neck and make like his final wish. And she says to him, like, do you want to be with me forever? Because all you have to do is this. And it was an 8-issue run. The way it ends is Oliver takes the ring, holds it to his neck, and he vanishes. He doesn't want to be a part of it. He knows he's going to mess up again. He knows that where he's at now is going to be the best he's going to be, that he's only going to bring more issues to Ellen and their baby. And it's really sad because Ellen realizes it right away, and she's like, I can't believe this is what he chose, this and that. They show 16 months later, she's got the baby who she named Dustin, or Deacon, which was the name of their friend. And she says at night, sometimes I can see him. I know he's watching over the house. And she looks outside, and there he is in like a tree, kind of squatted like Spider-Man. And she says to him, like, oh, like, he's kind of like my nightmare. Like, he asks to come in. He tells me the house is his. He tells me the baby is his, but I won't let him because she's got like that magic vortex around their house. And you can see it's kind of like a hatred thing where Oliver is so upset about it, but it's what he chose, and it kind of shows that what he chose to do by just taking out himself and vanishing um, was the right call, knowing he would never get better. And it was just really good. I thought the whole run was great. It was cool reading it once. If you have the chance, read the trade, go for it. It might be the best way to do it. But yeah, Vanish, I loved it. I loved it from the start. I thought it was so cool. The Donny Cates and Stegman stuff, obviously, pulled me right into it. And I'm glad I hung around. So a lot of books that I read this week, a lot of good stuff. The Night Terror stuff I love. I don't know what's coming out this week for Night Terror. Oh, yes, I do. Hold on. I'll tell you right now what's coming out for Night Terrors. Obviously, I know because it's in the back of each book. So this week for Night Terrors, I'll tell you what I'm getting. Nope, it's not in that one. And Mark, I am going to answer your question. I saw that. So August 15th, Catwoman 2. I forgot to get Catwoman 1. If I can get Catwoman 1, I will get Catwoman 2. Nightwing number 2, I'm going to get. I don't remember if I read Superman. I am not going to get Punchline. I am not going to get Wonder Woman. The following week is Night Terrors 4. Angel Breaker 2. She does have a second book. We'll see. Detective Comics 2, I'm definitely going to get. And Titans, I don't remember if I got 1 or 2. So we'll see. But yeah, so not as much stuff for me from Night Terrors, but that is okay. On to Mark's question. Are you reading Big Game from Image? That's the big crossover of Mark Millar's characters, Kick-Ass, Kingsman, Wanted, Nemesis, Jupiter's Legacy, etc. I think I had been reading the individual ones. Are those like the Ancient Enemies books? Is that what you're talking about? I read all those Ancient Enemies books. I didn't know that Big Game was the collab of all of them, though. It said like that they were going to come together. I just never actually read more into it to see where they were going to go next. So, this coming week, books I'm going to read, I'm going to flip through some older books. I'm going to read a lot of the Invincible 2 compendium. Nightwing, I'm going to be all caught up on. That's the goal. And a couple other books. Let me think. What do I have in there? The box I read is at the bottom of the pile right now, so I'm not really going to dive into that in front of you guys, but it will be on my short on Tuesday. I will show you what's going to be next. So, but I think that's what I got for you. Tomorrow, I'm going to show you guys what I did with my whole setup for my trades and omnis and how I organized it. And then Tuesday will be a short on what's going to be read this week for next week's Nerdword. Next week's Nerdword, I'm not going to lie, is going to be like those 1 a.m. ones because I'm doing 2 shifts Saturday, 2 shifts Sunday. It gives me time to read, which is great. But to do the reviews, I can't do it until like 1 o'clock in the morning Sunday. So Thursday will be new comic book day. I'm glad I got to go get my new books this week. I'll find a day to do another giveaway. Kyle, what's up, man? Thanks for stopping by. Reading Ice Cream Man. I forgot, not this past year, the year before. So 2022, I opened up in January. And I think it was every day for 10 days I read a trade, which was awesome. I loved doing that. And I had read Ice Cream Man 1. I very much enjoyed it. I never dove into volume number 2. I wish I had at the time. But this year I forgot to do that. And I was like, damn, I totally forgot to do that run. Where for the 10 days I just read a trade. So when Invincible Omnibus Compendium number 2 is done, my goal is going to be to once a week read a trade because obviously we can all sit and read trades in a day, with the time some of us have, and not even that, but how deep into a trade you can get to catch up on 6 to 7 issues of a book is fantastic. So my goal is going to be to do that after Invincibles. Then I think I'll have Invincible done by the end of next week. So only 2 more weeks. And like I said, then I'll just start mixing those in. I have so much stuff to read, but like I said, tomorrow you'll see how I put everything. I hope you all like it. I love it. It looks, not that it looks cleaner. I just like that it's organized. I know it's organized. Like my girlfriend helped me and she was like, oh, this looks good. And I was like, I know it looks good, but it's not what it's supposed to be. Like it's supposed to be better than that. So, and even when we were done, she's like, oh, I kind of get it now. Like that is cool. And I was like, yeah, like this is much better. This is how it should go. So that's what I got for you guys. I'm going to try and catch up into jump in and watch some of Collecting with Durs do his video tonight, followed by Mark from Legion of Comics doing At Week's End, and see what he's talking about. That's the goal. I have to go to a birthday party for my girlfriend's cousin, but my goal will be to sit there with my phone because there won't be much to do, so that's okay. That's what I got for you guys. So thank you all for watching. Quickly go through and say hello, Mark. Thank you so much for being on and honestly helping me do these recaps. DJ, thank you for stopping by. Daniel, you're the man as usual. Shop for Comics, thank you so much for hanging out. Las Cruces, I appreciate you. E-Man, thank you for checking it out, dude. Very much appreciate you. And was that it? And Kyle, thank you. So that's what I've got for you guys. Thank you for hanging out for 40 minutes on a Sunday. I appreciate you checking out the reviews. If you're watching the rewind, let me know what you think of Night Terrors. Let me know if you read Vanish. Other than that, that's what I got. So I hope you all stay safe. Enjoy your comics.